Josh, go ahead and zest me.
Zested. Invested.
Brian does not understand how anything works, and it's my favorite. Oh, shoot. Josh, I'm about to try something cool, and I don't know how it's going to turn out, but you're going to either...
It's a ticker, we tried that already.
No, fuck, the ticker's dead. Ticker's done. No, it's going to be... If it works out, it's going to be totally cool. If not, it's going to look really, really, really dumb. So, we'll find out. If you have epilepsy, you can turn away for a good, I don't know.
Oh, so are you saying I should actually be
5
watching
seconds.
everything?
I mean, you should be able to see it just in Zoom. But anyways.
I didn't have Zoom pulled up.
All right. Got to hit record here and... That went pretty much exactly as I expected it would. What is going on, everybody? It is August 17th, 2021. We are here. We are excited. This is podcast number 75, the 5th episode of season 4. Things are going to be a little bit crazy. We've got some new logo. We've got some new stream overlays. We're looking spiffy. We're looking cool. But you know what? We're glad you're along for the ride. And we're ready to rock. So, Walters, go ahead and rock us into it, huh, pal?
Welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix with your lovely hostesses, Garlic Johnson.
We're going to need to take a break here while I change my pants.
And Josh Mitchell.
Sitting here undefeated in everything I do, except fantasy football. No, I'm not allowed to handle crayons.
Not after last time.
Not after last time.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Garlic and Josh.
All right, I'm hyped up. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, well, almost always, by your other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks.
Oh, no. The audio's not great. Hopefully it gets better. Anyways, hiddenokesoverdose@gmail.com, anchor.fm/hoodpod, and now our Discord, all the places you can interact with us, so we would love it if you do. Otherwise, you can go to hiddenokesoverdose.com for you to check out our League of Record. It's pretty dope over there. There's also the segment start times, which will be down in the description below for all you audio listeners. And I got a shout out to @LeviOK Illustration for all this new branding, all this new cool stuff we got going right now. So, yeah. Oh, Josh, the next thing on the list would be the FanTASTY Zone. Do you have any sponsors for the FanTASTY Zone today, Josh?
Well, I did, but since it took so long, I ate my entire Johnny Pop mixed berry before we got, rolling. So
was it good?
Not good enough to make me forget about how long it's taken to get started.
All right. What about to drink, Josh? You got any fancy drinks over there?
I got some high-quality sink water mixed in with a little bit of leftover pre-workout and leftover Metamucil fiber.
Metamucil fiber, Josh? You're taking fiber on your own account, or is this a doctor recommendation?
On my own account. I like to keep regular,
And you don't want to do Activia like Jamie Lee Curtis has been telling you your whole life?
Nope. And I've been, I'm getting up there in years, and some have been looking at getting me a home, and figured I'd just try and do what I can to stick around as long as possible. Get off your phone.
I will not, because Brian said to text me if we go back, which we have. So, all right, but so I've got a delicious Arnie Palmer half and half Southern style, and so that's half.
It tastes like swamp.
Oh no, please, Josh, it's half pink lemonade instead of regular lemonade, so a pink swamp. That's I believe that's how that tastes. And then I've also got, Josh, I went through Big Lake this weekend. We got some of the classic pumpkin bars just for Josh's enjoyment. I know how much Josh likes pumpkin and bars, so got a nice little...
Actually, Nikita has taught me that I actually like pumpkin stuff. So, yeah, she made pumpkin cookies that are kind of like those pumpkin bars. And,
yep.
I mean, it was last year, but I'm sure by fall I'll forget that I like it and argue with her that I hate it.
Well, there you go. So, so you're on the pumpkin train. That's what I'm hearing you say. And that's all that really matters.
Yes. Something's going on with my screen.
What? The one thing I can't see, Josh, is your screen. Walk me through it.
Well, it looks like we're aliens. Our faces are overlaying each other. There's 3 of us, and...
Is that on YouTube or on your Skype call, or where is that? Because everything looks fine.
On Skype.
Everything looks fine to me. So just ignore your Skype. Your Skype is bad. Skype is lying to you.
Okay.
Aw, thanks, Josh, for the beautiful heart. So we did have one... I can't take this podcast seriously right now. Good thing it's the preseason. So we did have one fan interaction from last time. It was from Jack on our last video with the Faye Favre, where we did all those different fantasy players we were talking about. And you can see at the note sheet there, Jack asked, did I just hear Jordan Love compared to Trevor Lawrence? And then Jack did the throwing up emoji. So, Josh, did you compare Jordan Love to Trevor Lawrence? And why is that making Jack vomit?
I guess I don't know. If we're talking about quarterback ratings from the first preseason game, we might have just disrespected Mr. Love after that. So go tuck yourself in, Jack, because, we don't know how they're going to be. Trevor Lawrence might go out there and pull a Ryan Leaf. You ever heard of that guy? Sure you haven't.
Never have I ever. What was I think of? In the NFL subreddit, I'm sure because you thought of Ryan Leaf, you saw the same thing I did. It was like the very first preseason game, Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf, and it was like Ryan Leaf out-duels Peyton Manning. That's what you're talking about?
Well, I wasn't necessarily just talking about that, but he's typically looked at as the number 1 quarterback bust. So
that isn't named Jamarcus Russell or what?
I thought Jamarcus Russell was a D lineman that got lost at camp.
Might have. And since this has been such a piss poor thing, before I go any further, we talked about our own sponsors, but before we even talked about our food sponsors, I should have said that the FanTASTY Zone was brought to you by Skybusters. Brian, I would totally understand if this podcast does not suit your standards for sponsorship, so I can give you a freebie. I can credit you 1 extra show if you want. You can let me know in the chat. We
said no.
We don't really have anything else in the FanTASTY zone, Josh. Not a lot of interaction from last time because it was over a month ago. Don't really need to talk about the Rogers news. That's all gone. It's all gone by the wayside. So hopefully more FanTASTY zone stuff coming up. Oh, no, we'll do... oh, fuck. I don't dare open Google Chrome. We had some cool memes, and I'm not going to show them on the screen because my computer is failing. So we will show memes next week. For everyone who submitted memes, I'll just show them next week. Thank you for your participation. Brian has become a meme god. Josh, did you see Brian's first meme? It was in the general chat. He didn't put it in the meme
yes,
of the
Master
week.
Garlic?
That's correct. But he used like the Jedi Council picture that had like Bernie Sanders in the background, like sitting in one of the chairs, like his inauguration photo. I don't know if you saw it. I don't think Brian picked that on purpose, but if you look very closely, you'll see Bernie Sanders on the Jedi Council, and I think it's incredible.
Are you sure it's not Emperor Palpatine?
It's Josh, how dare you? Bernie Sanders is a saint.
Yeah, well, so is Emperor Palpatine in some people's eyes.
That's 100% true. Josh, let's keep going. The 272, the AFC. Let's just hop right into her. How do we feel? How do we feel about guessing all 272 games, more games than we've ever guessed before?
I think I got them all right.
Every single one of them? I mean, which one do you feel most proud about?
The Texans going 0-17.
So that was that. So you took a page out of my book with the Jets last year, and you went 0-17 for the Texans. If one team was going to go 0-17, it'd be the fucking Texans. You assume Deshaun Watson will not play. Not to give away too many spoilers, but I mean this one's not crazy.
Yeah, I mean if he's not playing, then it's 0-17. But if he's playing, it's probably just like 4-13 or something.
That's one of the most accurate things I've ever heard. So, Josh, before we get going, we've done this every single year of the podcast. This is year 4. So this is our 4th year predicting all regular season games. How have we done in the past? A little grain of salt for the folks. The last 2 years specifically, 2020 and 2019. How did we do?
Well, I think because last year we only went through week 16 for our total for like our podcasts. We didn't do the full percentages like we did in 2019, but 2019, you had an accuracy of 58.01%.
I'll take it.
I had a 64.26% accuracy. I believe that this was the year that I roasted Adam Rank and all the professionals because they were sitting there around the 55, 54 rank. And I'm like, why did they get paid for spewing nonsense?
Yep.
And then in 2020, I had 16 teams within 2 games. And I think overall it was like 25 games or 25 teams within 3. And then you had 22 teams within 2. And I believe your overall past that was like 28.
Well, you know what? I'm not feeling too bad about that. So what you're saying is we're often right, more often right than we are wrong. So we're not terrible at this.
Correct.
We know what we're talking about, kind of.
And just I'm not saying you should do this, but I'm saying take out a loan, a second mortgage on the house, and go to Vegas. You got it. Guaranteed.
Do you think Vegas offers a 272 game parlay? So like literally every single game of the season? They can't, right? We would have had to have heard about something like that before.
Yeah, no, we would have heard about that and probably submitted all of our life savings into it by now.
I mean, that's exactly what I would have done for sure. Well, Josh, I guess here, I'll go before we get started. So if anyone doesn't remember how this works, I'm going to have a little interval timer going on my phone, because if I did on my computer would literally fucking start on fire at this point. So we've got 16 AFC teams. The interval timer goes for 60 seconds each. And then so Josh and I will talk for approximately 30 seconds apiece. Sometimes we go over when we get very passionate. Sometimes we don't care about the teams at all. And so we'll only talk for 15 seconds each, and there'll be a lot of dead air. But 16 teams to go through, 16 minutes. The podcast should be nice and short today, even though we had a good 20 minutes of technical difficulties, so we got that going for us. We're going in alphabetical order of the AFC, so don't expect us to go by division. So Baltimore is our first team, and Tennessee is our last team. It's alphabetical by their city or their state or whatever location they're playing out of. Josh, are you physically, mentally, emotionally prepared to go through 16 teams in 16 minutes?
Go.
Well, you're
No, I'm just
supposed
kidding. But yeah, sure. I guess I'll figure it out.
All right. Do you want to talk first for Baltimore? Or do you want to talk second for Baltimore?
I'll talk second. You can go.
Okay. So there's a 5-second prepare here. All right, so first up, we got the Baltimore Ravens, Joshua. I think this team is not going to be great this year. I'm kind of over the Harbaugh. I'm kind of over the Lamar Jackson. The dude won't get his vaccine. He's an honorary poopy boy just like me last year. He had to leave a game just so he could go take a grumpy. I think this team's going to be just the middle of the pack. I got them going 9-8, power ranked between 16 and 17, so literally couldn't be more average, okay? They also have no one on their team who can catch a ball. So, Josh, what do you think?
They just drafted Rashad Bateman, who can catch the ball. He was in Minnesota.
Injured already?
Oh, yes, for the season?
No, sorry. I'm not going to interrupt you again. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I had them going 11-6, which is good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank system of 10 to 12. And that was pre-Lamar COVID. If he has any long-term issues from that, I said 6-11 is definitely possible.
So you start on Buffalo then?
Going on to Buffalo, I had them going 15-2, which is good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power ranky for 1-2. They have a weak division. If the running backs step up, they'll be okay. Moving on from the last season's postseason defeat.
I mean, for you to think Buffalo's going to be the top of the AFC, that's nuts to me. Maybe even the top of the league. I do have them going 13-4, though. I have them power ranked third. I just think there's no chance they are better than Kansas City. Obviously, their offense is potent. They signed Emmanuel Sanders to be a solid wide receiver, too, for them. Gabriel Davis showed good signs as a rookie last year, so their passing offense will be incredible. They're still rocking with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, though, so, I mean, the running game is the most thing that's questionable, but it obviously didn't hold them back too much last year. So I got this team going 13-4, power ranked for third. They'll definitely be in the playoffs. I don't think they'll knock off the Chiefs, though. Coming in next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. So last year, I think I also gave them 5 wins, and that's exactly what I'm giving them this year. They could have drafted a stud offensive lineman, the first one off the board this year. Instead, they decided to draft a wide receiver, another one. They had like 2-3 good ones, and they drafted another one. So poor Joey Burrow that got knocked out of the league last year with a terrible leg injury, I believe. Also almost got his head knocked off at one point, has no one to protect him. I have them at the bottom of the league, power rank somewhere between 25 and 28. They suck. Josh, what do you think?
I have them going 3-14, good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 28-30. And I said that, a top-tier rookie left tackle probably would have made this team playoff bound, but let's take a wide receiver and finish bottom of the pile. And by playoff bound, I meant thinking they're in the playoffs after they win like 2 games in the first 6 weeks. But yeah, they're trash. Moving on to Cleveland. The Brownie Townies, I had them going 13-4. Good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 5-7. And then I said, Chubba Choo Choo playoff train incoming.
Jesus.
Because, with that running game, and then they also have Baker Mayfield, who's been a serviceable quarterback, as well as one of the youngest and best defenses in the league. Chubba Choo Choo, ladies and gentlemen. Gar, what do you have?
Oh man, for that I can't even compete with the Chubba Choo Choo, dude. I have the Browns going 12-5. I have them power ranked somewhere between 4 and 9. I know that's a big range for the top, but I have a bunch of teams going 12-5, and I really don't want to sit here and have to break down and differentiate between them. I mean, if you had to, the Cleveland's probably on the back end of that, between 7 and 9. But I really think Daddy Stefanski will steer this baby right. I think they got what it takes this year to be a playoff team. Moving on to the Denver Broncos. This is another team I just do not think highly of at all. Probably the team I hate the most so far to the 5-6 we've talked about. I got them going 2-15. They're power ranked 31st in my, I don't have a cool nickname. I'm not, the wishy-washy Joshy or whatever. But I got them power ranked 31st in my power rankings. I think the coach is okay. The new GM is going to be all right. They just need to build the team. Drew Lock ain't it. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I had Denver going 3-14, good enough for the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 28-30. They have solid talent in a lot of places, but they tried stealing Rodgetown, and I hate them for it.
Did they really try, though? Do we know that for sure? Or was that just a rumor literally the whole time?
I mean, as far as I know, they tried. But then again, I've tried during this podcast before, too, and we've all seen how that turned out. So there is a possibility that it was just that one guy spitting out his bum, but Moving on to Houston, could I just laugh for the 30 seconds that I'm allotted?
Go for
I had
it.
them going 0-17, good enough for the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 32. And then I was just wondering, it's like someone gave their 6-year-old nephew the controller in Madden, and then this 6-year-old had a ton of anger issues because he's just doing everything he can to make the city of Houston upset. Except to put his finger in Deshaun Watson.
Dude, I'm telling you what, I'd pay good money. I'd pay good money to put my finger to Deshaun Watson. I think I'd probably get some sort of physical gift after that. But yeah, I have Houston going 1-16. Last year I had a no-win team, and I just wanted to give them one win this year. So Brian might be willing to bet us on this Houston one. We'll see. But I have them power ranked 32nd as well. Bottom of the league, absolute dumpster fire. The organization is inept from top to bottom. Easterby is one of the biggest stooges you'll ever see. The ownership group is corrupt. If Watson plays, maybe 5 wins, but he won't. Moving on to Indianapolis. Josh, this one really hurt me, and we'll talk about it more why later, but I have them only going 5-12, and I love Frank Reich. I love Chris Ballard. Carson Wentz is okay. Their O-line's good. I love Marlon Mack. I think T.Y. Hilton is a bit underrated, although he had a bunch of mental issues, I think, last year. I couldn't give this team a lot of wins. I was going through their schedule, and I'm not going to sit here and pull up their schedule right now, but just pretty much every game they had, I was like, ooh, this other team's better. Or like a team that was probably similar to them in my eyes, like Detroit. I was like, yeah. And I took up 40 seconds, Josh. You only got 20. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had them going 12-5, so the opposite of you, which is good enough for the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 8 or 9. I have faith in that defense and their ability to overcome injuries. I don't see Carson Wentz, who's been their kind of the biggest cornerstone change, as a downgrade from Phillip Rivers. So there's that.
I respect it. We'll talk about it more later.
The Jacksonville, I had them going 5-12. Trevor Lawrence may not be the answer this year, but it's definitely going to be Urban Meyer's fault if they falter, because I do not think he's a good human being. I do not think he's a good coach. Sure, he can do it in college, but this team is only going to win 5 games, and 3 of them are going to be because Gardner Minshew steps in with his jorts on to play QB.
Well, that'd be...
Did I say the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 24-26? Because I had them on the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 24-26.
Excellent. I have Jacksonville going 6-11, so pretty similar to you. This is pretty much what I do with all the new year coaches and the top QBs off the board. The Bengals were supposed to make moves in the offseason to get better. They didn't. So Jacksonville, I'm thinking maybe 6 wins this year, but they need another year or 2 to improve. If they don't, they'll stay in this area for a while. But I think this team could be something if they just kind of stick to whatever plan they have. I got them between 22 and 24 in the power rank. Moving on to KC, the cream of the crop. Everyone knows is going to be on top of most people's boards. 14-3 is what I got them. I got them good enough for power rank 1 or 2 because I have 2 14-3 teams. So literally the best of the best. Can't argue against them. The O-line got better. They still have Kels. They still have Hill. CEH is only going to get better. What was their biggest loss? Sammy Watkins, and how many people would consider that a real, genuine loss? Not many. So, Josh does. Okay. Well, we'll hear about what Josh has to say now. What do you think, pal?
I just wanted to raise my hand for the sake of raising it, but I had them going 14-3 as well. Good enough for the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 3-4. Obviously, a lot of things play into this. They're probably going to be the cream of the crop. But I mean, just look at their last 2 seasons. Kermit and Big Red, they're the new shake and bake. So it's definitely going to be a match. It's a match made in heaven. I'm sure Big Red finishes Kermit's leftovers. Moving on to the Chargers, I had them going 13-4. Which is good enough for the Joshy Wishy-Washy power rank of 5-7. And then I just said, I fell for it. I think every year everybody says the Chargers are going to be good. And then this is the year that I fell for it. It's their year. What do you got, Gar?
I gave the Chargers 11-6, good enough for a power rank of 10 to 12 on my scale, on my system, but I didn't feel good about it, honestly. Which seems weird to say because I'm such a Chargers guy. I love them. I love Herbie. I'm not, I don't know much about the Joe Staley or whatever his name is. I don't know much about him yet. Offensive line should be better, but I don't know. They must have an easy schedule for me to have given them 11-6. I'm surprised I gave them that much. I don't think this is their year. So even if they sneak into the playoffs, as a Chargers fan, I don't have a lot of faith in them winning the bowl this year. Speaking of teams, though, that I'm giving bias to also, this is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. I will never not love John Gruden, and you can fault me for it if you want. I have them going 10-7, good enough for a power rank between 13 and 15 on my list. Gruden is a goofball, but a good coach in my opinion. They'll get some W's they shouldn't. That's kind of what Gruden does. Like he will upset Kansas City probably in one of their 2 matchups this year. It's just kind of the thing he does. He does those weird things. They might stick in the playoffs. They're not going to do anything significant. Josh, what do you think?
I had Las Vegas going 6-11, good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 22 to 23. And I just said, sorry, Gruden, but your future's in the grinder after this showing. So hasn't done much in the time that he's been there. I think he's been there for 4 years now, 5. And something. And have they had a winning season under him yet?
That's a really good question. I'm really glad you asked it.
So I think that his one claim to fame is they beat the Chiefs once. Moving on to Miami, I had them going 11-6, shocking people. They made some moves this offseason. Their record, if they go 11-6, gave them a Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 10 to 12, somewhere in there. Their defense is solid. They have a shaky division, besides Buffalo, of course. And then if Tua plays well, Tua the playoffs they go.
Yeah, I mean, I have Miami going 10-7, good enough for the rank 13 to 15 as well. We will see with Tua. I mean, I gave them more wins than not. Again, I mean, it could be part of their schedule. They play the Jets twice, for example, so those are an easy couple dubs. And then they seem to beat New England at home every year, so that's just another freebie. But we'll see. I love B-Flow. I'm not sold on Tua yet. Their running back staple is questionable to most people. I mean, Myles Gaskin and Salvin Ahmed were serviceable last year, but we'll see. I don't know. Moving on to England, the Billy B Paradise. I have them going 10-7 as well, so I have 3 10-7s in a row here. Also good enough for the power rank 13 to 15. All of them 3 in a row. Here we go. I think Cam's leash will be short. I reckon. Billy B has been very supportive of him publicly the whole time, but Billy B's no stooge. If Cam just can't get it together between the ears, he will bench him and throw mac and cheese out there. And I think Billy B's a little more impatient because I think he doesn't have too many years left. Josh, what do you think about New England this year?
I had New England going 8-9, good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 17 to 20. And all I had to say was football.
Did you buy that shirt as well or no?
No, I did not. I'm gonna wait for the movie. So obviously, I agree to it. The reason I only said football is because I agree with what you said. Billy B's not getting any younger, so he's gonna want to have someone in there. Moving on to the New York Jets, I had them going 4-13, good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 27, the lone 4-13 team in my rankings. I don't blame Saleh for this dumpster fire. I do think he's going to turn the defense around, but it's a young team with a rookie quarterback. I think that in 2 to 3 years they'll be riding that high wave at 8 wins.
You know what? That would be quite a lot of wins in the new schedule. I have them going 3-14, good enough for the power rank of 30. My only 3-14 3-14 team as well. I do love Saleh as well. Need to give him a couple years. I think he might prove he can be something good. He might not. Who knows, Josh? But I guess, what do you think about Zach Wilson? We got 9 seconds here. You think Zach Wilson's a real deal or not? Will they need to find another one?
I think he'll do fine. They got decent weapons around him, but I do think that he'll be serviceable as a rookie QB.
All right, moving on to the Pittsburgh. I got them going 9-8 this year, good enough for the other 16-17 team in my power rankings. I just don't think Big Ben got enough in the tank. I mean, Juju's not invested. Claypool will be all right, but with no offensive line, Eric's talked about this. It's going to be tough for Najee to succeed as much as he wants. Hopefully, he does good enough to be good for me in fantasy, but not so good that this team gets more wins. Josh, how do you feel about Pitts this year?
I had them going 11-6 because I was the one that was down on them last year, and I said never again, just because I thought that they were going to be trash, and then they started off undefeated. So their 11-6 record gives them a Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 10-12. And then my only notes were something clever, and I didn't think of that. So I do see that I have 8 seconds left, so I'd like to thank Mom, Dad, Deb, Nikita, Kaya, Odin.
I guess I could have held it like this the whole time, huh?
And then moving on to Tennessee, I had them going 15-2, good enough for the Joshy wishy-washy power rank of 1-2. I think that their offense is potent despite losing Jonnu Smith. And if that defense slips, if Vrabel's going to suit up and chomp some knees, I do think that I do think that my overall rankings are a little skewed because I did it a couple weeks at a time instead of just all at once. So my gut had time to change, and so it's very possible that I'm completely off base and 100% wrong and everything, but I'm not. Gar, you have 20 seconds.
Well, I mean, I don't think Tennessee will be quite that good this year. I got them power ranks 4-9 with a 12-5 record. I agree, Vrabel will do whatever it takes. But I mean, even with the addition of Julio Jones, do you really think Ryan Tannehill's the guy that's going to get you there? I think even though he's better than Kirk, I still think he's at the top end of the Kirk category. He's no Patty Mahomes. He's no Aaron Rodgers. He's no Tom Brady. So that's it, Josh. That's all 16 teams. How do you feel? Need a cold shower after that? Was that a lot for you? Was that intense?
No, it was good. I liked it. I like how we broke it up this year. I'm just sitting here staring at my note drawing and kind of giggling internally. That face is just getting to me.
God. Well, before we move
on. Who knew
on,
that 4 shapes would make someone laugh so much?
Before we move on, Josh, we did do a little comparison, and this, with our new layout and everything, I was going to take the time to show it on the screen so everyone can see, kind of what we were talking about, because that's a lot of words for them to process, but I'm not going to risk it. We've been going pretty smoothly for a little bit here. I'm not going to, try and pull up Chrome or Firefox now, so we're just going to roll with what we got. But we can walk through what our comparisons are for the AFC, so if you want to go to that other sheet in the spreadsheet. And
the compost one?
Yeah, the comps. Yeah, the compost ones. Just what our differences were for each team, because obviously some of the teams we feel pretty similar about, and then there's at least a couple teams that we're pretty far off on.
Yeah, so I mean, AFC. I'm actually shocked because my AFC teams, I think I had them like the top 5 in the power ranking system, and yours was kind of an even split, but we had. Oh gosh, it's not numbered, Gar.
Just highlight the middle column and it'll do the count in the bottom right for you. So like 7 teams are within 1 win.
Yeah, so 7 teams are within 1 win. 10 teams, no, that's not math. 13 teams within 2 wins, and out of the 16 teams, that's pretty much the same. Our biggest discrepancy is that Indy one, where you have little faith in Carson Wentz, and I have more faith in him.
I just thought their schedule was tougher this year. I mean, so you got them 12-5, I got them 5-12, and you have their projected win and loss here. Where did that come from, by the way? What's the source for this?
Espen.
So, I mean, ESPN has them going 9-7, so pretty much in between the two of us, a little more skewing towards you. But their schedule looked a little more tough to me, and I'm not sure this team is going to, be what it takes. I guess, do you think, because it seemed like last year, and maybe even the year before, Carson Wentz his problem wasn't his actual physical ability to throw the ball. It looked like it was all between the ears. So, I mean, I guess, do you think being out of Philly, that's all cured now?
Well, I think it also has something to do with the fact that offensive line was one ham sandwich away from being a Kelvin Benjamin. They're pretty bad. And so I think that having the offensive line that they have in Indy, along with weapons like Mack and Jonathan Taylor and Pittman and that TY guy, and then Mo Alley Cox, they should be. I think he'll do fine. I think that if it was between the ears, it'll improve.
Gotcha. So, I mean, just to run down the list, we have pretty comparable on KC, Houston, Denver, the Jets, Jacksonville, Miami, Cleveland. Those are all within 1 win. Cincinnati, New England, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, and Buffalo were within 2 wins. So we're pretty comparable on almost all of the AFC. Tennessee, we're 3 wins off of. Josh has them doing better than I do. And then the Raiders, I have doing 4 wins better than Josh thinks. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, these ESPN projections are pretty conservative. The top one for Kansas City is 11 and a half wins, and we both have them getting 14. And their bottom team for Houston was where'd we go? I lost it. They have them getting 5 wins somehow. So I mean, obviously, these ESPN projections are, I don't know,
trying to science-based model.
Is Josh, how much? Oh, by the way, Brian said he would take the under on Buffalo. That's a chat I saw earlier. So I have them at 13. You have them at 15. Are you willing to bet, Brian? I don't know. I think it was like $5 last year. Even if he gave you the 13 line, my 13 line instead of your 15 line, would you bet him on the under?
No.
Oh,
I don't bet on
Josh.
sports.
You play fantasy football. That's betting on sports.
Shh. It's not betting if you know you're going to win.
There you go. How long have we been live streaming for? Can I see that? No, I can't see that. All right, well, let's keep rolling here, Josh. That was our 272 of the AFC. I really hope the 272 for the NFC next week goes a lot smoother than this did. Josh will have to get together to try out some other things because Zoom obviously can no longer be used, and I'm probably not going to buy a brand new computer within the next week. So,
should we call it the 136 since we broke it up?
Sure, you can if you want. But it wouldn't be one. Would it be 136? Yeah, I suppose it would. That math checks out.
I started doing that math when we started the show, so yeah, it's right.
You just figured it out now. So one of the podcast feedbacks things we got last year, and I hope this podcast won't go too long. We'll still do it anyways, though, because whoever's still listening, you deserve a little treat. It was a podcast feedback last year to do our very own kind of why your team sucks segments, and I literally just remembered that was a podcast feedback item today, so I didn't prepare. Like, I wish I would have wrote it down like Drew McGarry does every year and had like a big thing I could have read. I'm just going to do it improv off the top of my head. Josh has a full week to prepare, so I'm sure his will be much better than mine is. I'm just going to do mine improv right now. But so if you're not familiar with the Why Your Team Sucks, this guy writes it up every year. There's big long columns on all 32 teams, and he uses the same prompts for every team. So you'll hear the categories as I go. But there's going to be a lot of swearing, Brian. So if you have any virgin ears around you, maybe cover them. But I'm going to sit here and go. I'm going to tell you why your team sucks, and that team today being the Minnesota Vikings. So. Let me get one more wet whistle here. All right. Why your team sucks, Josh? Your team, the Minnesota Vikings. Well, just look at them. Your 2020 record, 7-9. Not good enough to be good, not bad enough to be bad. Right down the middle, staying mediocre the whole time. Your coach, Mike Zimmer. This guy's so old school, he probably hung out with Fred Flintstone at school. All right? That's kind of the old school we're talking here. He gets redder than a strawberry, redder than a tomato. He's a very agitated fellow. He's proving himself to be a little more woke this year. He's been very hot on the vaccine scene, if you will. He's been trying to get all his players to get vaccinated, but a lot of them won't, and we'll talk about that in the next section as well. But Zimmer's been fighting a very public fight. I can only assume that he was fighting this fight a lot in private earlier. But that's one of the most endearing things about Mike Zimmer is you believe that he's doing everything he can for this team, but it's never going to be good enough. We are not going to win a Super Bowl with Mike Zimmer. And so I'm so defeated as a Vikings fan after going through years of Brad Childress and Leslie Frazier, Mike Tice. I don't care about winning a Super Bowl anymore. That's why my team sucks so bad. I'm okay with Mike Zimmer just giving us, a playoff run every other year and not doing anything with it. That's why our team sucks. Your quarterback, Kirk fucking Cousins. What can be said about Kirk Cousins that hasn't already been said about Diet Mayo? This guy is the blandest, most infuriating human at the same time somehow. He's been very prominently anti-vax, which has already been a problem in training camp. He had to miss 5 days just for being in close contact. In his press conference afterwards, he said he would do literally anything it took to, help this team out, including putting up plexiglass around himself in the quarterback room. When pressed on if he would do anything, why not get the vax? Kirk Cousins said, it's a private and personal matter. To which I say, Kirk Cousins, go fuck yourself. That's dumb. You're not putting the football team first. You're putting yourself first, and you're not even listening to science. I've defended you for fucking 4 years now, and you've pissed me off a lot, okay? You're not a great quarterback. You're above average at best, and you have bad games that cost us wins throughout the year, and now you're doing this. After all I've done to defend you, you're sitting here, Kirk Cousins. You're sitting here anti-vax. This season's over. We're going to do nothing good this year, and I hate it. But we're also not going to do bad enough to get a top quarterback in the draft, so fuck me as well. What's new that sucks? It sucks that we're going to waste the time of Dalvin Tomlinson and Patrick Peterson, two pretty studly defensive players if you're not familiar. We also have new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, who is, I'm sure, just some sort of ugly China doll or Russian doll reproduction of his father. Will run a similar system that will be okay but not good enough to do us anything good at all. What has always sucked? The fans. We have the fair weather ones who only show up when we're good and bitch about everything when we don't. We have the diehards who will only, suck the cock of everyone who's on this team. We have an ownership group that isn't aggressive enough to actually do what it takes to win. And we have a coach and a quarterback that aren't good enough to actually win anything important at all. That has always sucked. What might not suck this year, Josh? Watching Justin Jefferson blow up and be a great wide receiver. And that is why your team sucks.
Might suck because it's going to fall into that what's new that sucks in a couple of years, but...
One more time, sorry.
I'm just going to say, it might not suck now to watch Justin Jefferson play, but he's going to have that whole Randy Moss type trajectory. Just dominate the league for a few years before going somewhere else to win it all.
He just might.
Actually, I don't think Moss ever won it all. Never mind.
No, he never got a ring. He got close with New England, and he got close with... he played in 2 Super Bowls, for what it's worth. So that's why our team sucks, Josh. Like I said, I did mine improv. I'm sure it was a bit of a ramble at times. But I saw Al in the chat say, is this a politics pod? No, Al, this is a football pod, and the vaccine is very much a football decision at this point because it could cost us wins with him just not getting the vaccine. So human health is not a political issue also. So you're wrong on 2 fronts. Josh, you have any final words for the folks before we kind of go over what the schedule is remaining for the preseason?
No.
Are you disappointed in what our podcast became today? Because I sure am.
Yes.
We'll have to work out time to get together again this week to try out a couple of their options. Josh, next week we've got the 272 or the 136, as you put it, for the NFC. The week after that, we have draft grades for the redraft league. And then after that, we'll do our kind of season-long predictions, like our season-long studs and duds and, other fantasy predictions. You think it'll be a good preseason?
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah. Are you deeply entrenched in whatever phone game you're playing right now?
Yep.
What are we playing?
I'm trying to distract myself because Nikita made dinner tonight and it smells delectable.
Well, we're pretty much done. So yeah.
I know. I know.
Okay, sorry.
What are you doing tonight, Gar? What's on your menu?
Well, if I don't go jump off my deck after what we did for the first 20 minutes of this podcast, I will make a pizza I bought. We got the Papa Murphy's Take and Bake, $10 Tuesday. I'll be doing that. And then, I don't know, probably just, drink my sorrows away. That's probably what I'll do.
Are you man enough to have 2 Papa Murphy's Take and Bake pizzas and bake them one on top of another and make it a sandwich?
I am not man enough for that, Josh. Not yet. Maybe if you teach me your manly ways for a couple more years, I could evolve into such a creature.
The key is to bake it and then use mayonnaise as the glue.
All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com. Anchor.fm/hoodpod and our new Discord are all the great places you can interact with us. The Discord link is in the description below. Also, if anyone knows me personally, you can text me, message me, I'll send it to you, but it is right beneath us here in this YouTube video, and it will also be in the description of any audio podcast you're listening to as well. So, HiddenOaksOverdose.com, lastly, is a place you can check out. It's Josh's baby. He's been doing a lot of work on there, so go look at it, go appreciate it, go see our League of Record and how people have performed over the years. Ooh, Josh, you brought up a little website here, huh?
Yeah, we got our own cards. I don't have pictures for anybody yet, or everybody, but I have ours.
You have like little sports cards in there?
Yep. And then there's Derek's with his photo. Where's down here? Yeah.
As soon as you started sharing your screen, the audio went to hell again. But thank God we're done. So Josh, I'm just going to go ahead and tell the people to go to sleep.
That's why I waited till now.
And we're going to lick our wounds and see what happens next time. Love everyone.
Night.
Bye.
Night. Bye.
Jesus Christ, dude. What was that? Oh. That's infuriating.